As Nazar said, I'm Rena Garrett. I'm a Senior Solution Architect in Evernorth Health Services, and I'm talking today about reinventing data onboarding. And I came up with the longest subtitle ever, so you guys can just read that yourselves. I won't go through it. So, as we know, data is an ever-growing asset of the modern enterprise. There's no end in sight to the amount of data that we're gathering and processing, and the demand for data exchange between organizations is increasing all the time. So how do we manage the onboarding and ingestion of all this data? So anyone who's ever worked on a data onboarding project will know that the data engineering and data mapping part is typically 80% of the effort, which is one of the reasons industries come up with agreed standards. So I forgot this was in here, actually. So I put this in because everybody loves a deliberate strip, and he's talking about standards, or the pointier hair bosses, anyway. So just give me a second to read that and me to settle myself. So many industries have come up with standards and agreed formats for the ease of data exchange and interoperability. So anyone in healthcare will recognize HL7 and Fire, and the X12 for the electronic data interchange of benefits, eligibility, claims, and prior auths. Geospatial people will recognize the OGC one there, and I'd say all the Hewlett-Packard people will recognize the DMTF, which is the Distributed Management Framework Group who developed the WebM standards, which deals with cloud and virtualization, all that kind of stuff. So what all these have in common is that they conform to an industry-agreed standard structure. So the expectation is that when you receive a file like this, that it will just flow through your pipeline and you'll have no problems. So if I get a lab bio file with lab bio data from a vendor sent through my pipeline, I think, oh, it's going to work. And then, oh, no, it's after failing. And then I get a benefits file with benefits and eligibility data from a vendor sent through, and oh God, that's after failing too. So, like, what's going on? What do you do when your standard is not standard? So the structure can be standard, but there's nuances and meaning can be different between different data vendors and different clients. So you end up with a highly manual mapping process where your teams are deep in Excel hell, and you're in like tons of meetings, making you feel like your life force is being sucked out of you by the Harry Potter dementors, just through trying to agree on this value maps to this value, which it doesn't. But anyway. So what is the outcome of this? So we end up with a mountain of technical debt that we're constantly trying to overcome through, we end up creating exceptions, doing custom coding for different scenarios based on new clients, new vendors. I mean, hands up who has dealt with this in their career. Yay, cool. And because the data mapping and data engineering is taking so long, you start cutting corners to hit that customer deadline that the sales and contract guys agreed to without consulting you. Not that I've anything against sales and contract people, if there's any in the audience. So we don't need all those unit test cases, cut them all out of it. We don't need all the monitoring and alerting. Just give us the data in the app and we can worry about all the other stuff later. So I've solved this problem several times through traditional data-driven approaches in various companies over the years. But this time, when I encountered it, I had an alternative option. So, and hopefully a more elegant option. Enter AI. So I feel like somebody has given me a magic wand with the advent of LLMs and AI. As a solution architect, it's given us scope for opportunities and solutions that we wouldn't have been able to implement as quickly or as elegantly before. So to me, it's like it's game-changing. But that doesn't mean we're throwing out all our traditional techniques like enterprise data modeling and metadata management, but we can combine them with the new techniques of LLM and RAG, and that's helping us streamline and accelerate our processes. getting rid of the busy work, which results in savings across the business and organization. And who doesn't love savings? I know that the executive leadership loves savings. So if I just go back to the previous example of our standards not being our standard, so how do we solve that? Well, we get ahead of the problem. We tackle the problem at source in the first conversations with our clients or vendors. So we tackle it at the file structure and the data nuances by creating an AI metadata mapper that is also built to handle the processing and interpretation of business rules. So rather than having to implement custom code to deal with your business rules into your code base for every different vendor or client, we just map the metadata up front and produce a source target mapping that can then be used by a Python script or Lambda function, or insert your preferred technology here, to transform the incoming file to the internal standardized format. So why is this a game changer? Well, it's faster to build, for one thing, than traditional rules and coding scenarios. There's no hard-coded exceptions in your code, which in turn reduces your technical debt. It gives you more time to build out your critical functional requirements, which are often squeezed out or delayed due to costs and timeline pressures. Previous example of the monitoring, alerting, and the test, a fully built out test automation framework, which AI can also be used to help us code up and design. And the result is a truly standardized and data-driven pipeline which speeds up your speed to market. Magic, right? So what are some of the challenges we've encountered? The biggest thing we've encountered is, the biggest roadblock is people. Like, people suck, we know that. Everyone is afraid that AI is going to take over their jobs, going to cause them to be redundant or replaced, but in actual fact, it's just going to free them up to do what they're actually trained to do. So we're overcoming some of those obstacles through, proof of concepts, demonstrations, demonstrating the value, the speed with which you can solve a problem that might take them weeks. In conclusion, join me in... Sorry, lost me place. Join me in freeing up our colleagues from the mundane drudgery of Excel hell by using AI safely and smartly, by opening their minds, the doors of their minds and the possibilities of AI. Alberto Legelemens. Oh, sorry. It's like out here.
Yes. You can take it. Do we have any questions? Yes.
Hi, James Conroy. I've been a software engineer in Galway for a number of years and returned to do a master's in AI here. So you talk about benefits that LLMs have brought to solution engineering. Could you just talk a bit more about that, the practicalities of how things have improved your processes?
I think it's just quicker. Like, all the hard work is done for us by the LLM being there in the first place. It's not like having to code a neural network from scratch, which Michael Madden made me do when I did the master's in data analytics. So, yeah, like, a lot of the groundwork is done, and it's literally just a question of learning how to implement it, and it's just an API call. And then it's up to you how you improve it further with your RAG, your vector DB, a graph vector DB combination. Yeah, like, the possibilities are endless. I haven't started looking into the agentic AI myself yet, but that's the next thing on my list. It's something I really want to start reading up on. But it's so easy to educate yourself on it and to get up and running on it straight away. Like, so yeah, for me, it's a game changer. Yeah. Does that answer? Okay, or do you want me to talk more? You can chat to me later anyway.
Any other questions? I have a question, actually. I was wondering about the laws we have, regulations with AI systems and the ethical aspects. Have you seen that impacting your solutions? do you feel your hands are a bit tied? Would you want a bit more freedom?
Yeah, I would definitely want more freedom because even the APIs are locked away from us in work at the moment because I work for a healthcare services company and they're so paranoid about HIPAA and GDPR and data leaks and things like that that you have to build your use case and make it watertight, submit it to the AI COE, and then they'll give you access to the API. So you have to be really careful, but there's all these guardrails that you can build around it, like your like really stress testing your prompts and your prompt engineering, make sure that there's no prompt injection possible, that you've guarded against that. All your normal secure by design aspects. Trying to think what else now. Yeah, but it's a huge area that has to be taken into account when you are developing an AI solution. But there are, like, if you go onto the OWASP website, they have the top 10 guidelines for protecting your AI solution and making sure that you implement those.
So that is a part of design itself.
Yeah.
Like while you're designing a solution, you are kind of tick boxing all those
absolutely.
things that
yeah,
okay.
Like normal software engineering, like the lady that spoke earlier, I can't remember her name, when she was talking about cybersecurity and everybody's responsible, and it has to become a mindset when you're developing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.